This is episode number 877 of the In and Fight podcast. This week, in 5-Minute Mondays, we bring you where most athletes fall short. Yes, we are continuing and we're wrapping up this 4-part series we've done the last 3 Mondays, 4th being today, all about the CrossFit Open 2024. And who better to have with us? Toby Buckland, Mr. CrossFit himself, the man who has dreams and aspirations to go to the CrossFit Games. And if you saw him in December in Dubai Fitness Championships, you might think he's got an outside chance. You might not. We'll talk about that in another show. Mate, what is going on here? Where are people falling short? What are the mistakes people are making that the few weeks out that we've got now before the Open starts on February the 30th, register games.crossfit.com. Where are people falling short or focusing on the wrong things?
It's a good question. So I think we kind of touched on it last week, but it comes back to the kind of competition versus training, or beating your head against the wall versus maybe training a bit smarter. And I think it comes back to more practice, less performance. So 2 athletes who are improving at the same rate, let's call it, can have very different destinations in their fitness journey.
Yeah.
Not due to speed of improvement, but due to the velocity of it, okay? The direction. Which direction is this improvement going? Someone who is looking to get strong for CrossFit, but maybe they're just increasing their running volume again and again and again each week. Well, it's actually going to, yeah, they're getting fitter overall, but it's actually going to take away from their overarching goal, which is to get stronger. And so I think just the general rule of thumb is we need just to be a bit more mindful with our approach to the training. Yeah. And so, I mean, we look at other sports outside of fitness racing, high rocks, CrossFit, try and name anything else, any other sports that's out there. But you look at basketball players, golfers, MMA fighters, endurance athletes, a lot of their training, in fact, I'd say the majority, maybe not endurance athletes, but the majority of their training is focused on technique and economy and efficiency as opposed to just intensity and volume. And you know, especially golfers,
it's huge in swimming.
And yeah, definitely.
Massive.
Yeah, exactly right.
You look at the top guys, they're just drilling. I mean, swimming's not, I don't want to make light of swimming, but it's a little bit less complicated as far as, you know, you're focusing on maybe 30 different actual movements a week, whereas in swimming it's, you know, if you do front crawl, you do front crawl, and the swimmers are going to jump all over me, but they just spend a lot of time drilling that technique. And that's what you're saying, we're just drilling techniques here rather than trying to empty the tank every single time. Definitely.
And I mean, it almost begs the question, well, we've got so much more movement variance, so why do we not spend so much more time focusing on this technique as opposed to just intensity? But both are good, right? Whether they're coming in and beating their head against the wall, they're still going to leave fitter, but are they making the most of their time?
Yeah.
And depends on where they want to be and how long they want to take to get there. But
it's maybe a little bit linked as well to what we spoke about in week 1, which is the relative imbalance. There's a lot, like we spoke about a max snatch, which was quite a lot of weight. We spoke about a max back squat. We spoke about a max clean. And then we compared that to running, which was we agreed was relatively slow compared to the weight. So people, it's the constant multiple angled seesaw that we see in CrossFit the whole time.
Definitely, right? I think the bottlenecks in the sport are very much due to technical mastery, let's call it, as opposed to raw capacity based at the minute. That might change. Everyone might become a technical wizard with every single movement in the sport, and then it's purely based upon aerobic capacity. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. There's always going to be a new movement that shows up, a new variant, a new weight, anything like that, right? And so having that kind of technical bank to be able to just draw upon is going to pay off in the long run, for sure.
So it'll be 4 shows, 4 Mondays, and also show 872, which was live just a couple of weeks ago, where we talked all about CrossFit Games, how to get involved. Mate, I think you've shared, honestly, if people did go back and listen to these shows one after the other, you've shared a little bit of gold in everyone, and I think everyone would just make it to, well, definitely to the CrossFit Games, if not beyond. Is there one step beyond?
Not yet.
Not yet. Folks, it is solid advice he's shared for the last 4 weeks. We appreciate it, mate. I love it. It's not overly complicated. Week 1 was the most complicated, where we had to understand what people actually have to do. But everything else really, and you've spoken a lot about performance training versus competing, and there are a lot of differences, but there are also a lot of similarities. So things go for both sides of the court. It's just the interpretation and the implementation. So we appreciate it, mate. We're looking forward to seeing you bang your head against the wall, as you've said, during some of the open workouts. I'm sure we'll see some vomiting on the floor, which you've mentioned a couple of times as well.
Disappointed if I don't.
Thank you very much.